What's going on, YouTube? Hey, I'm back with another reaction video, man. I'm reacting to Dom's tech check video of how to get out of help desk. That might not be the right title, but yeah, man, hitting off the new year. Y'all see the new camera right now. Y'all see the new background. Everything got to upgrade, and that's what I'm here to give y'all, man. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
Guys, welcome back to Dom's Tech Chat. So today we're going to be talking about, I know I always talk about on this page about how you get into help desk, but I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. I wanted to talk about getting out of help desk. So a lot of times you will hear people say help desk is how you get your entry-level IT role. It's how you get your foot in the door. And I agree. Getting into some type of support role is a great way to break into IT, to break into the industry, just because it tends to have a little bit of a lower barrier of entry. And a lot of times
I totally agree with that. Most people who don't have any experience, I actually advise them to possibly do, and I'm talking about no experience at all. Some people have experience in other career paths where they don't have to do that because they have transferable skills where they don't have to do help desk. But in the event that you don't have any skills, you're just starting off, I advise help desk because it gives you a well-rounded IT approach of understanding structure, procedures, processes, communication, you name it. It gives you a well-balanced formula to be successful in any role. So I definitely agree with her on that. Spin the clip.
There's a lot of positions available. However, the thing that you want to be careful about with help desk or even support roles in general is just if you aren't careful, if you're at the wrong type of company and just little things like that, you can end up stuck in a help desk role for way longer than you anticipated. You have to go over some of the things that I have learned.
That's also facts. I tend to tell people to do 6 months to maybe a year. I mean, if you can get out before then, go ahead. But anything after that is like overkill. It tends to keep you in the role longer than you need to be. And it doesn't help you in a job search. You'll mostly only get contacted for help desk roles. And then they'll look at what you've been doing. They'll try to railroad you into only being able to do help desk. But as it keeps going, or what if she had to say, I'm gonna break it down some more. Let's get into it.
In my experience, from just what I've seen from myself and from the people around me, and ways that you can get out of help desk and so that you don't get stuck. Okay, so first things first, I know we talk about getting out of help desk, but where do you go? And that can be one of the hardest parts of deciding what to do after help desk, because there's so many different paths you can take in IT, right? For the sake of this video, I'm not going to go into every single career field that you can branch into. I'm going to keep it kind of to like the main three that people tend to choose, and that tends to be either system administration, networking, or cybersecurity. You see these roles. Sometimes you're looking at the job postings and they're asking for 3 years of experience with servers, but you've been doing over the phone support for the last year, so it's not something that you have experience in. So what do you do? How do you get attention for these type of roles when you have people applying who have years of experience with these types?
Right. You got it's so broad, because even cybersecurity is like broad in itself, networking broad in itself, sysadmin broad in itself. But then you start throwing in, hey, cloud, you can do networking, architecture, security, stuff with the databases, you name it. It's so much stuff you can do in this realm of like IT networking or whatever. It's a lot of stuff. It doesn't have to just revolve around cybersecurity. So if you think it does, then hey, I'm telling you, it's more out there. Let me shift this over. So all right, let's spin the clip.
Type of things. So that's when we get into home labs. I recently had on a job interview the interviewer tell me that he put more weight in home labs than certifications. A home lab, and this is something that I have struggled with, is that a lot of times people traditionally will buy servers, they will buy switches, and they will buy them at home to learn how to administrate them and to practice things like configuring a switch or installing software on a server or working on it remotely. These are expensive. This is enterprise level technology sometimes that people are buying for home just to practice. So not everybody has that type of budget. I know I don't. So I wanted to let you guys know that one of the alternatives that you can have if you keep seeing people recommend to home lab, and that's just not a financially viable option for you right now, is to do work in the cloud.
Totally agree. And I wouldn't even necessarily have to have a home lab. If you come to me interviewing and you said, I've subscribed to different e-learning platforms and I've been using their labs to try to gain the skills, I'm going to like that. Just because you're taking the initiative to be better for different roles. So I like that. I wouldn't say you always have to go buy any physical merchandise, and you can also download your own virtual machine with Oracle Box, VMware. There's probably some other ones that you can do. Those are two that I don't pretty much use. Stuff what Citrix. Well, actually, you wouldn't even know about Citrix. I'm really just finding out more things about Citrix myself. But to move along from that, if you go in there and you're telling an interviewer that that's what you're doing to try to set yourself up, set apart what you're doing in your lab and every day, shout out to the one on Lightfoot, then I'm good on the lack of your skills, because you're showing me that you have the will to get better. And one of the things you cannot teach in the job field is effort. So shout out to them. Let's keep it moving.
So for example, Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services, you can go on and you can make accounts.
And matter of fact, right now I am working on the Azure 900 fundamentals, and similar to the cloud practitioner, I'm gonna ramp up my studying this week. So, back to the video.
And you can set up a virtual machine. You're only paying for that virtual machine for as long as you're running it. Once you're done, you delete the resource. So I was able to do that to spin up some Linux virtual machines when I wanted to lab with Linux, or if I wanted to work on configuring switches. Instead of going out and buying a switch, I use Cisco Packet Tracer instead. So is it a perfect match? Or you're going to get as much of that hands-on experience with just setting up cabling and things like that doing it the virtual option? No. But is it a lot cheaper? Yes. And do you still get to do all the software practice? Absolutely. So if you're someone that is looking to figure out how you can start your home lab, and you get a little bit flustered when you see the prices of some of the hardware that people purchase, go for the cloud. And if it's something that you guys...
And I like to also add, what you can also do is, depending on if you're a student or something like that, they have discounts if you have like a .edu email address. So if you're a student needing access to that, use that .edu email address to get discounts. Also, schools like community colleges have different type of classes that are pretty cheap, that you could take some of these classes and lab and learn the skills as well in a good format, as well as different, Cybrary, Udemy, Rangeforce, INE.com, IT Pro TV, Next Gen IT, like all those different sites. They have things that will help you ramp up your skills tremendously. So yeah, she's definitely right. Let's keep rolling.
Are interested in, I can give you a tour kind of how labs that I have run in the cloud, or how you can set up your first Microsoft Azure or Amazon Web Services account so you can get started with labbing in the cloud, or even with Cisco Packet Tracer. I can give a video on how to get started with that. So basically what you do with these home labs is you set up problems, or you might be following a class that gives you sample problems or things that you want to set up or even break, and then figure out how to fix it. And once you are comfortable enough with these type of things, then you can start putting it on your resume. This is where LinkedIn comes in handy, and I talked about this in my other video in regards to getting LinkedIn set up. But LinkedIn, you can document your journey on there. So if you're in help desk and you're picking up new skills, document on there like, hey, I labbed today and I went on Linux and I set up 2 virtual machines and I made them talk to each other, and I set up a load balancer so that if somebody...
Hey. She's right on that one too. Tell my clients all the time, document everything you're doing. I don't care how big or how small. Show interest, get people interested in you. Different hire managers, people on potential teams you might work for will be viewing your LinkedIn when you try to apply the job. So definitely document your progress. Like I told you earlier about me doing the AZ900 last week, I made a post about it. I took a practice test and I got a 70 and passed it, so I did better than I expected, and I'm going to focus on what I don't know. That got a lot of traction. I might try to post it right here. It got a lot of traction, A lot of reaction, and you see the power of LinkedIn, and their engagement is crazy once you make a post that resonates with everybody. So that's one of the ways that kind of will teeter that line of networking that also will help you fare better to get out of certain career fields you don't like. Let's keep it moving.
You went to this IP address, it switched between 2 virtual machines. Give a little breakdown, a little summary, brag a little bit about what you've been doing, geek out. These are the type of things that will pick up recruiters' attentions, hiring managers' attentions, future employees or future coworkers about, and they might look at this profile and be like, this is someone that I would love to work with, and you might get a job just from that. So it never hurts to go on there and document. Take some time to pick up a certification, pick up an advanced certification. Again, this is going to change a little bit depending what path you want to take. So for example, if you're going for Security Plus is obviously one of the first certifications that you want to get, you want to knock out. If you have the Security Plus already, you might start looking towards the pen test certification, or some of the more advanced certs so that you can stand out for those type of roles.
All right, so she's right. She's not necessarily wrong, but I disagree with anything maybe past Security Plus. Maybe if you want to do CYSA Plus, but for me, when I interview people that have all these different certs, it makes me kind of want to grade them a little harder, or ask why haven't you been hired, or anything like that. Like, some of those certs are advanced for a reason, and they don't necessarily help you get a job per se. You could possibly stand out by saying, oh yeah, you got this cert, but it does. I mean, if your job is if your goal is to get an interview, I would say go for it. But when you're doing that things, you need to make sure you really fully understand what you're learning in there, because based on how you present yourself to the employer when you're interviewing is how they may interview you, which could be good thing or bad thing. Some people will drill you for having a couple of other certs that no one else has. They'll make perceive you to supposed to be some type of expert. So really just pay attention to that. But overall, I understand what she's saying, because when I was in help desk, I thought I was gonna go get the CEH so I can go get a job. It didn't really work for me, but you know, it is what it is. Let's go.
If you're looking for networking, you want to get your Network Plus, your CCNA. Even if you aren't looking to specialize in networking, if you're looking at security or system administration, I would still suggest the CCNA. You kind of can't touch one without touching networking, so you might as well.
And I will only really suggest Network Plus. De'Ara said this CCIE by 30. She stated plenty of times that if you're not going to necessarily be doing networking, you don't necessarily need your CCNA. Yes, it can help you, but if you're trying to save money, you don't really want to spend the money, and you know that's not something you're going to do, you don't necessarily need it. The fundamentals of what you learn in Network Plus will be more than enough to help you in your security role, sysadmin role, whatever. So I get what she's saying. Her goal right now is to help you stand out, but my objective is for you to learn and know what you're doing, because someone will always find a diamond in the rough. Let's keep moving.
Look at the CCNA, cover that basis while you're at it. My goal would be to pick up at least one advanced certification while you're still at help desk. Again, same thing. It's all just to make your profile, your resume, add a little razzle dazzle onto it. Something that you can tell recruiters, like, oh, right off the back, I am certified in this. It's just something that makes you stand out as a candidate. Unfortunately, when you are in your beginning stages of your career, so entry-level IT and that first step after help desk, they are really competitive roles. So do everything that you can to stand out, because it can be hard. Along with that, with standing out, when you are at your help desk job, and a lot of people, this can be a bit controversial, but try to not do the bare minimum. If there's an extra project, take on the project, even if it's something a little bit out of your scope, a little bit out.
Yes, totally agree. And I agree with 100%. The way that you have to pretty much volunteer for things like that when you're trying to move, because they're going to think about you first, like, oh, this person volunteered to do this networking assignment, even though he's in help desk. He helped us out a lot. So you can volunteer for projects, you could try to go shadow different departments, make relationships with those people. All those things will help you. And if you do volunteer for something, or you're trying to do something, get written approval first and make sure your manager and their manager knows what you're doing, because that can potentially cause issues. If you're not familiar with the technology, you can mess some stuff up, and that's happened before to people. So just make sure you're paying attention to that as well. But she definitely give you guys some good advice
out of your job description, because that is where you're going to get experience on things outside of just the basic password resets, unlocking accounts, fixing Outlook, restarting someone's computer. It's where you get more something to, again, stand out in interviews, to add onto your resume as accomplishments. So if there's anything at your job that you can think of or that you can volunteer for as something special, something that differentiates you from just an everyday help desk technician, do it. And as you're doing these, I actually on my computer just keep a little file of anything extra that I've done at my job or anything that I would like to bring out in the future if I have a job interview, just so I don't forget.
Hey, she's on it. I agree 1,000% with everything she's saying right now, man. Y'all make sure to go follow and subscribe to Dom's Tech Chat. She's, if you don't know, guys, if you're this far in the video, guess what? Here's a secret. Dom is going to be on, she's going to be on the podcast. So I'm happy you guys, man. Look, I got a lot of stuff planned for us in 2022. I got some good episodes, some good content that I'm shooting this week. I won't be looking this dusty. That's why I got, the lights on, but not all the lights on. You see, man, look, we get into it all 2022, man, and please, I'm trying to get to 15,000 subscribers, so give me the HBO special, help a brother out. But in the meantime, y'all know what to do. Let's stay textual.